everybody. Good afternoon. My name is David Carthy. I head the DLA Piper business in Ireland. Thank you so much for coming to our Technology Summit. Setting aside your work and other commitments today is really appreciated. If you can indulge me for a little, I'd like to reflect a little on DLA Piper's journey. So we started in Ireland just over 5 years ago. It was a natural step for DLA Piper to enter into the Irish market, given Ireland's place in the global supply chain, increasing global ambition of our companies, and the globalizing journey Irish business had gone on over the last number of decades. It was our perception at the time that the Irish legal market lagged a little the business community. There wasn't sufficient choice, and we felt also that the Irish legal community was a little less globalized and developed than it could be in comparison to other jurisdictions. We felt there was a need for a firm to offer a global perspective and also integrated global advice. In the last 5 years, we've grown from 1 to 120 business professionals. We've worked our way through various different temporary workspaces. I used to say we work-ish, but if we go on for a few years, maybe people won't remember that reference. We've worked our way through COVID. We've worked our way through pandemic. We're now in a wonderful new premises over 6 floors on Molesworth Street, just down the road from Simon Coveney, and that's our long-term home. Our vision was and remains to be the law firm of choice for clients and talent seeking a global perspective in the Irish legal market, and there's a lot more to do. We've consciously built as a business. We want to offer a seamless client experience for our client via Dublin, true to our global platform and our global colleagues represented today. We want to ensure that the best local and global talent is available to clients. And we also want to embrace technology and innovation and change. And that last point about embracing change was always core to our culture. And the culture is, in essence, what has been our glue and how we've built. We want to thank our clients represented today for endorsing the value and quality that we offer and helping us grow so rapidly. We've built teams with a deep global sector knowledge, particularly in financial services, life sciences, energy, and, of course, technology. Our team of 120 legal and business professionals now form a growing part of DLA's global community of over 11,000 professionals in 46 countries. So it's completely different to the scale of others that people might perceive as our competitors in Ireland. And in the context of our global footprint, that combined team encapsulate the Irish saying, Ní neart go cur le chéile. There's no strength without unity. And I think that's very much true of what we're trying to build. And this growth is reflective of Ireland's distinct place in the world of commerce. More Irish firms are going global. Almost all of the world's biggest multinationals are present on the island, increasingly with EMEA or global decision-making capacity. And technology and innovation has been a key driver of Ireland's economic growth and development over many decades. As the key disruptor in the Irish legal market, DLA Piper is committed to bringing innovation to everything we do, every day, to every client. Today is a perfect example of this. We've convened leaders from the European technology industry and beyond. We're going to explore many issues affecting us over the next decade. And as is the case with innovation, it's not always the comfortable things. It's not always the easy things. It's analogous to trying to stepping out on the ice and getting yourself comfortable and getting across to the other side, as opposed to staying on the comfortable bank. Successive Irish governments have implemented policies and incentives to promote technology and innovation. They've placed big bets to benefit Irish business and society, and many of those bets have paid off big time. It's important to reflect on the Irish government as part of this. We're delighted to welcome Minister for Enterprise and Employment, Simon Coveney today, TD, to address the summit today. Minister Coveney is the Deputy Leader of Fine Gael and previously served as Minister of Foreign Affairs and Minister for Defence. He has also held the office of Taoiseach. Please join me today in welcoming Minister Coveney to the stage.
Thanks very much, David. And Every time I come into a tech event, I realize I should really take my tie off on the way in and the door, so I'm not the odd one out, overdressed for the occasion. But I'm really pleased to be here today. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, to Mark O'Connor, to Mark Rasdale and Hannah Smith, but in particular to David Carthy, thank you for hosting this event today. I think it's a real indication of the level of seriousness at DLA Piper in terms of serving this global industry out of Ireland and indeed internationally. I also want to take an opportunity to welcome former EU Commissioner Phil Hogan, who I know is here today, and former Ambassador Dan Mulhall, both of whom I know well, now of course with DLA Piper as well, and the many business and technology leaders that have taken the time to be with us this afternoon. It's a real pleasure for me to be here with leaders in the digital world, with technology investors, innovators, financiers, and of course, legal professionals. This gathering is a testament to the dynamism and indeed the scale of the technology sector now in Ireland, both here in the Docklands, but right across the country as well. Ireland is at the heart of the global digital transformation, or at least we're insisting on putting ourselves there, both as a home to a vibrant digital economy and increasingly now through our role in the EU regulatory environment, which is fast evolving and changing, as many of you will know. We can all agree that emerging technologies and digitalization are crucial to our continued economic progress. Technology is improving our daily lives in so many ways, transforming healthcare and education, creating new business opportunities, changing the way we move around and manage energy, granting easier access to government services, and of course helping us to decarbonize our economy too. However, we must acknowledge that there are serious challenges also that we need to be aware of. Harmful online content, cybercrime, ethical issues and privacy, data ownership and access, and artificial intelligence, machine learning, all evolving at pace. To grasp the opportunities of digital technology and to mitigate against risks, the government's National Digital Strategy, which is entitled Harnessing Digital, has 4 dimensions, and they are deliberately aligned with the 4 pillars of the EU's Digital Decade programme as well. Firstly, the first of those is to drive digital adoption across all enterprise by nurturing startups and sustaining Ireland's attractiveness as a location of choice for cutting-edge technology companies. It also seeks to ensure high-quality digital infrastructure, such as a gigabyte connectivity and improving cyber resilience in both the public and private sectors. We also want to deliver digital skills at all levels. And fourthly, to accelerate digital government by moving towards more advanced and user-centric service models of digital public service. If government isn't leading by example, then I think it's difficult for us to be credible in terms of the regulatory space and also the advancement of innovation. In my view, we can reap a vast digital dividend in Ireland, both across society and the economy, with appropriate regulation, oversight, and protections. Cooperation, political leadership, and stakeholder engagement is crucial to achieving this, and I hope we'll advance some of the thoughts on that this afternoon. For this reason, a coherent governance structure and a modern, cohesive and well-resourced regulatory framework are central across all four pillars of the digital strategy. We know that AI is a powerful and fast evolving technology that is and will continue to have huge impacts on our economy and society. The government has been aware of the potential of AI for some time. That's why we developed a national AI strategy in July 2021. My department is leading cross-government implementation of that strategy now. Substantial progress has been made in the 2 years since the launch, But given the pace of the change that AI brings, of course, we have to constantly upgrade our response from a policy and regulatory framework perspective. We've appointed our national AI ambassador, Dr. Patricia Scanlon, to lead a national conversation on AI, to educate all of us. Dr. Scanlon has completed her first year in the role. We've established an enterprise digital advisory forum focused on industry adoption of AI and other digital technologies. We've also established an AI innovation hub, CEDAR, to provide services such as specialist training and project feasibility work, in particular for SMEs. We've joined the Global Partnership on AI, a multi-stakeholder initiative originating in the OECD. We've put out a call for experts to join an AI advisory council, which has got a huge response, with Minister Dara Calleary intending to make an announcement very shortly on its establishment, probably within days. And we've been preparing for the inevitable acceleration in the development, power and uptake of AI, including machine learning. Indeed, Ireland was one of only 26 countries discussing AI at the AI Safety Summit in the UK last week. The forthcoming AI Act, if designed appropriately, will be helpful in supporting the continued innovation in an ethical manner and limiting the potential risks involved with the development in this sector. We can leverage our internal capacity, work with national research and industry experts, and collaborate with our European and global partners to ensure that digital progress is maintained in a responsive and responsible way. As set out in the National Digital Strategy, we want 90% of SMEs to have achieved basic digital intensity and 75% of all enterprises to be using the cloud, AI and big data by 2030 and maybe even beforehand. These are big ambitions, but ones that we know need to be met to stay competitive. Unlocking our digital potential is vital for both the economy as a whole, but more importantly for individual businesses who face competitive markets at home and increasingly abroad. My team are developing a new digital portal to help businesses to get a digital roadmap for themselves in place, with clear, tailored advice and guidance of what steps they need to take to digitalize and what tools are available to them. To boost the uptake of digital technology in enterprises, last year the government established a digital transition fund. This is a €58 million annual fund which will run until 2026. This work will be complemented by a network of European digital innovation hubs, which act as one-stop shops, if you like, for expertise, advice, and opportunities to test out new technologies before investing for SMEs. Just a quick word on climate, if I may, because embracing technology is not only valuable in its own right, but we also see its potential in realizing our climate action aspirations, which are very ambitious. In fact, our green and digital ambitions reinforce each other now. That's why our climate action plan aims to leverage the digital transformation to address Ireland's economic and societal challenges, particularly with the twin transitions of climate and digital at the same time. And startups and scale-ups, which I think are hugely important. Increasing the number of scaling enterprises is a key policy objective for me and for the government, and indeed I know for the EU as a whole now. It is critical that the Irish-owned exporting sector fulfills its potential and builds a strong domestic growth engine to support sustainable, diversified growth. The government is working to encourage entrepreneurship and ensure Ireland is a viable and attractive location to scale companies for global success. I often say that our ambition in Ireland is to bring the big names here, to build their global businesses and grow their global businesses out of Ireland. But it's also about building big names out of Ireland to become multinationals of the future carrying an Irish flag. And both of those objectives, I think, are hugely relevant to the conversations that you'll have today in terms of building new and growing existing technology companies. And Budget 2024 contained a new targeted tax relief for angel investors, which we believe will be useful and helpful in terms of funding SMEs. It'll be focused at innovative startup SMEs and will assist in securing investment and make Ireland a more attractive location for angel investment more generally. We will also refine existing schemes to help unlock more equity investment in smaller, early-stage businesses, which are typically most in need of funding at an early stage, and support them in creating high-quality jobs. To support those jobs, Ireland is excelling in the provision of highly skilled ICT graduates to support a digital economy and maintain competitiveness. I think that's the number one issue that comes up with me when I speak to multinationals who are based here, who want to stay here and who want to grow here. It's the quality of the talent and the graduates that they can access is central to their decision, as well as the ability to be able to bring talent from other parts of the world to Ireland in a country that actually welcomes inward migration politically, as opposed to seeing it as a threat. It's a huge part of the Irish economy now, facilitating skills from all over the world to complement the skills that you can find here out of Irish universities to build global business. In fact, 20% of our workforce in Ireland today weren't born in Ireland, and I expect that figure will continue to grow in the future. But in terms of educating our own graduates, our share of ICT graduates stands today at 8.6%, which is over double the EU average of 3.9%. We see ourselves we set ourselves a target in 2018 to increase the number of learners graduating with higher level digital skills to over 12,400 graduates, apprentices and trainees a year. And I'm delighted to be able to say that that target has been exceeded significantly by 2021, with almost 15,000 now graduating or finishing their training each year out of the third level system in Ireland. And we'll continue to try and accelerate those numbers. The second overall target we set ourselves was for the development of a basic digital skills as measured by the European Commission's DESI index to reach 80% by 2030. In 2020, the 2023 index show that we're performing reasonably well in getting to that target, with 70% of people having at least basic digital skills compared to the EU average now of 54%. Continuing to increase basic digital skills and digital literacy is a key objective for us in government, and it's very much part of Ireland's digital inclusion roadmap, which was published just a couple of months ago in August. The DSI also recognises continued high performance of Ireland in the area of digitalisation of key public services for citizens and for businesses. We've seen high take-up of MyGov ID, with close to 2.2 million verified accounts in 2023, allowing active use of digital public services in a much easier way for consumers and the public. Under the Connect Government 2030 policy, further developments are in train, such as the EU digital wallet as a way of securely verifying credentials such as qualifications, passport or driver's license. Now, we are also delivering a life events portal, a user-driven approach to digital government to allow users to interact with government from a mobile phone at key life points such as the registration of a birth, a marriage or a death, when you start a business or indeed apply for a driver's license and so on. In terms of digital infrastructure, Ireland is committed to supporting the availability to everybody of high-speed, reliable digital connectivity. The Irish market has seen stable growth of fixed, very high-capacity networks over recent years, reaching 84% coverage in 2022. And we are progressing towards the EU target of 100%, of course, before 2030. The National Broadband Plan in Ireland will ensure all premises across the state, regardless of how rural their location, will have access to high-speed broadband. Rollout is continuing apace and is due to be completed by 2027. Overall 5G coverage is at over 85%, and that's significantly above the EU average, and of course we're working towards a 100% target there as well. For those of you who aren't from Ireland but who are visiting here, we made a strategic decision in the last government in Ireland that we would not allow a digital divide to develop in terms of broadband infrastructure between urban and rural locations in Ireland. And so the government is investing significant public money in ensuring that we subsidise the rollout of high-speed fibre broadband into every physical building in the country, whether it be a farm, a home, or some other form of business. And that is going to be concluded by 2027. On regulation, which I know many of you will be interested in because it takes up an awful lot of time for this sector now. Regulation is hugely important for the digital economy and for a digitized society, which is where we're moving. And we're working in tandem with the EU to develop a regulatory framework for digital that makes sense. The EU has been ahead of the curve globally across a broad range of digital activity, including improving online safety, governing the movement of data, fostering ethical and trustworthy AI where possible, enhancing cybersecurity, and encouraging competition within digital markets. In effect, what we're trying to do in the European Union is to build a digital single market in the same way that we have built a single market for goods in the past. The challenge of that from a regulatory point of view and from a policy point of view is significant because the technology is changing at such a pace. Some regulations are still under negotiation in Brussels, but for others that are in effect or will soon be, we're busy preparing legislation to create the appropriate oversight and legal basis to ensure that the enforcement powers work. Ireland has played and continues to play an active role in shaping these regulations, and we continue to advocate for a balanced and optimal approach to digital regulation. Our approach strives to strike the right harmony between essential regulation and the need to nurture innovation and foster competitiveness. The last thing we want to do is to over-regulate in the European Union and to drive research and investment out of the European Union to come back at a later point in an effort to avoid over-regulation. We work closely with many like-minded partners around the table. For businesses, we understand the importance of regulatory certainty, particularly on the country of origin principle, which means that a business activity is regulated in the EU by the member state in which it's established, avoiding the need to comply with 27 different legal regimes. The one-stop shop mechanism is a central element in the smooth functioning of the single market. Along with most EU countries, we believe that this is the best way to protect the single market and European innovation at the same time, and to provide certainty for all of you in this room and industry more generally. Given the large number of technology companies that are headquartered in Ireland, retention of the country of origin principle also means that Irish regulators have a preeminent role in the EU, in the pan-EU digital regulatory framework. We're going to be very busy in this space, but we are determined to meet that challenge. We're very mindful of our important role in enforcing EU digital regulations. In March, we formally established Commission Naman, which is Ireland's digital services coordinator under the Digital Services Act. Legislation is in preparation to give existing bodies, including the Competition and Consumer Protection Commission, Comreg, the Office of the Government Chief Information Officer, the Central Statistics Office, a range of new powers arising from the new EU legislation, such as the Digital Services Act, the Digital Markets Act, the Data Act, and the Data Governance Act, in addition to the Data Protection Commission. Our Data Protection Commission is continuing to expand in terms of its roles. And in truth, this is complex stuff. From our point of view, we work very closely with the European Commission and indeed quite a number of other EU member states to try and get it right. We also know that further regulatory changes will be needed as current negotiations are concluded, such as the AI Act, the European Health Data Space, and the Gigabyte Infrastructure Act. I am conscious that when you keep naming these acts and bills one after the other, people's eyes tend to glaze over. But believe me, it's going to be central to your business model in the future and the legal advice that you get to make sure that you're compliant, while at the same time, I hope, being practical and pragmatic enough and business-friendly enough to allow businesses to adapt and continue to invest and thrive. As all of these regulations take effect, the government will maintain an ongoing review of resources to ensure that our regulators are well equipped with the necessary skills and staffing levels for effective implementation of the suite of regulatory responsibilities that we hold. The Irish government will host the next Digital Ireland conference on the 18th of April next year in Dublin Castle, reflecting the importance of this area. This will be an opportunity for digital stakeholders to gather and take stock of recent developments and to look ahead to the formation of a new European Commission next summer and its new 5-year work programme. I hope that many of you will be there. On the day after the conference, ministers from the D9+, a group of digitally advanced and like-minded EU member states, will meet for an in-depth discussion on strategic digital issues. The B9, which is the business community from those member states led by IBEC, will also meet in parallel. Ireland was a founding member of the D9 group, seeking to lead the digital transformation of Europe, and we will continue to see the importance of informal strategic relationships, such as the D9+, in influencing the direction of future EU policy. Small countries like Ireland need to be good at building alliances across the European Union to make sure that we can win the arguments of the future. And we continue to invest in that on a weekly and monthly basis. So in conclusion, the key challenge for the future regulation of new and emerging technologies is reconciling 3 different objectives: ensuring that we can harness the societal and economic benefits that they promise, first and foremost, while secondly, simultaneously protecting our citizens from harmful use and abuse of those technologies. And thirdly, but equally importantly for the economy, fostering innovation in these technologies in Irish enterprise, whether they are Irish-based enterprise, I should say, whether they be Irish SMEs, Irish multinationals, or indeed other multinationals that have made Ireland their home for global business. I know that all stakeholders have a role to play in ensuring that we achieve our digital goals. For many here today, you will play a part in the navigating of the future regulatory environment. And I'm sure there'll be many interesting thoughts and discussions today on that front. So I would like to thank you for giving me the opportunity to give you some insights. I think it was David said earlier, or maybe it was Mark, that this afternoon is about new thought, new insights, and new challenges. There is certainly no shortage of new thoughts, new insights, and in particular, new challenges. But the opportunities are immense. And for me, as Minister for Enterprise in Ireland, we effectively are building a new economy now. And we're trying to put the foundations in place to make sure that technology, decarbonisation, and education continue to drive Ireland's ambition and our competitiveness in the future as a place where global business thrives. And global business will and cannot thrive unless we have a healthy, smart digital economy that is designing the solutions of the future. And that's what summits like this are all about. So thank you for taking the time to be here, and good luck for the rest of the afternoon.